ॐ शुक्लाम्बरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये. Om. Dear friends, welcome to the study of Geeta. We were seeing this shloka number 13 of 4th Adhyaya. Chaturvarnyam maya srushtam gunakarma vibhagashaha. That is a shloka. That is a very, very important shloka. So that is the reason why I am telling a lot many things which are connected with that. Because we have to read Geeta in order to understand our tradition. We are not reading Geeta for punyam. Many people read Geeta, okay, if I read Geeta, I'll get punyam. Okay, you may or may not get punyam, but we should at least get knowledge. We should at least know what is there in the Gita. What really did they say? So from that point of view, I have been explaining this shloka. I explained to you what is varna. I explained to you what are the 4 varnas according to that. And we have come to the most important question. Is this varna decided by birth? That is the most important question. A Brahmana's son, is he automatically becoming a Brahmana? A Kshatriya's son, is he automatically becoming a Kshatriya? Is is it a type of watertight compartment, or is there no progress or decline? The person in the lower category, can he not progress to a higher category? And a person in a high category, will he not fall down? So that is the question. So for that question, I was telling about a commentary by Nilakantha Chaturdhara, a very ancient commentator whose commentary is in Sanskrit. And I have to tell you, it is available on the internet also. If you are having your smartphone, you can go to IIT Kanpur, IITK, Geeta Super Site. The site's name is geetasupersite.iitk.ac.in. geetasupersite.iitk.ac.in. If you go to that, and if you go to the 18th chapter and 41st shloka, that is Brahmana Kshatriya Visham Shudranancha Parantapa, that is the shloka. Under that, what that Nilakantha writes is very, very important. So there, he very elaborately explains, very elaborately says that birth is not something which entitles a person to be in that category. His character is very important. If his character, what are all the expected qualities are not there, it is like recalling. Of course, we don't have the provision of recalling a politician. So, if those qualities, Satyam, Dhanam, Kshama, Shaucham, etc., if they are not there, a person falls from that standard. And if somebody else from a lower category, if he is having all those categories, all those qualities, he has to be treated as a Brahmana. That is precisely what Nilakantha Dikshita is saying. Not Nilakantha Dikshita is saying on his own behalf. He is quoting from several parts of Mahabharata. Because I told you, because he has written the commentary on the entire Mahabharata. So he is quoting from other parts of Mahabharata and saying that these 4 are not watertight compartments. I will read out what he has written for. Meanwhile, if you have got on that internet and if you are acquainted with Sanskrit, you can see the Nilakantha commentary. Under that Nilakantha commentary, he writes, some people, they may be born Brahmins, but they are not doing Brahmana job. For example, Drona, Yathahi Dronadishu, Brahmaneshwapi, Shauryadikam. A Brahmana, Drona is a Brahmana, but then what he was doing was a Kshatriya job. Then Bharatadishu Kshatriyeshwapi Shamadikam Dushtam. Bharata, we know that who is that Bharata? We are not talking about Shakuntala, Vishwamitra, Shakuntala and Bharata. There is another Bharata. There is another Bharata who becomes a very great sage. Bharata was a king. He becomes a great sage. And that great sage, again, there is a big story in Srimad Bhagavatam. I think I told that story also earlier. That he becomes a sage and then later he becomes a deer. And the next Janma he becomes a Brahmana. Next Janma, Janma less. That is, he achieves liberation. That is Jivan Mukti as we say. And he teaches Vedanta to a very famous king called Rahugana. That is Bharata Rahugana Samvadam. Is a very, very important episode in Srimad Bhagavatam. If we see the 5th skandha of Srimad Bhagavatam, the 5th skandha, chapters number 13 and 14, you find this Bharata Rahugana Samvada. Okay, we will not go into that. So Bharata, we are referring to that. So Bharata, though he was a Kshatriya, all his qualities were that of a Brahmana. And he ultimately became his last life was a Brahmana life, and then from there he became an enlightened person. So here he writes, Tasmad Yasmin kasminchid varne shamadayo drishyante. Those who know Sanskrit kindly listen. Yasmin kasminchid varne shamadayah drishyante. That is, these qualities like shama, dama, titiksha, etc. In whatever varna they are seen, in whatever category they are seen, saha shudropi tairlingaihi brahmana eva jnatavyaha. Saha shudropi, that gentleman, even if he is born in a shudra, born to shudra parents, he should be treated as a brahmana. And yatra cha brahmanopi, brahmanepi shudra dharma drishyante. And in case of a brahmana, so the person, a brahmana's son, a totally negligent person, totally lethargic, totally not at all interested in anything, and a totally foolish person, a person who is lacking in energy, lacking in drive, etc. So such person, he should be treated, he should be put in that category. He should not be put in the higher level. He should not be put in the higher level, he should be put in the lower level only. That is what he says. Yatra cha brahmanepi shudra dharma drishyante, sasha shudra eva. This man is saying, this Nilakanta is saying, he is shudra only. And tatha cha aranyake sarpabhutam nahusham prati yudhishthira vakyam. He is quoting from what is called a Nahusha Prashna. In Mahabharata, there are so many episodes in which there is a discussion about what is a Brahmana, what is a Kshatriya, who is a Brahmana. So, which means that even in Mahabharata times, this discussion was there, right? We are having now, oh, what is the greatness of Brahmana? Yes, it is a very, very valid question. And this question was there even in Mahabharata times. Even in the Mahabharata times, there are 3 episodes particularly, that is Yaksha Prashna. Yaksha Prashna, I will not go into the details of that Yaksha, the episode and whatnot. Then the other episode is Nahusha Prashna. There was a very great king called Nahusha. For some reason, he becomes a huge python. And then that python, and he is there swallowing everybody. And he will get released from that curse only when the people answer his questions. And he should not he should not ask simple questions. He has to ask some complicated questions. There is a prescribed questionnaire. So he should not say, what is your name, what is your father's name, like that. He has to ask some. There is a questionnaire. So whoever answers those questions, then if somebody answers the questions, then this Nahusha will be released from the curse. So at that time, it so happens that Dharmaraja goes and Dharmaraja answers the questions, and then this Nahusha, his curse is over, and then he releases Bhima. He had actually encircled Bhima. He was about to swallow Bhima. Bhima, we know that he is such a fierce man. So Nahusha Prashna, again there is a question, who is a Brahmana? And there again, Satyam, Dhanam, Kshama, Sheelam, Anrushamsyam, Tapo, Gruna. This is the definition for Brahmana which is given in Mahabharata. There are so many places in Mahabharata which define what should be the characteristics of a Brahmana. If those characteristics are not there, he should not be treated as a Brahmana. So it says Satyam, that is truthfulness. Dhanam, he should be generous, even if he is a poor man. And we see there are so many stories in Mahabharata again. There is a very, very poor Brahmin who was just living by picking up some grain which are there left over in the fields. And after 2-3 days of starving, he gets some food. Right at that time, some guest comes, and then all the food he gives to that. So that means that spirit of dhanam has to be there in a Brahmana. Then Kshama means forgiveness. He should not take offense with anything. He should not be offended by anything. He should excuse. He should have that forgiving nature. Then Sheelam is character. Anrushamsyam means he should not be a cruel person. There should not be any iota of cruelty in his mind. Tapas, tapo, gruna. Tapas is austerity. And gruna, kindness. All these things. Drishyante yatra nagendra. Sab brahmana iti smritaha. A brahmana was supposed to have all these virtues. And where those qualities are not there, he is also saying that yatra ital lakshete sarpa vruttam sab brahmana smritaha. Where these characteristics are available, he should be called a Brahmin. Yatra itam na bhavet sarpa sam shudram iti nirdishet. Where these qualities are not there, then he should be treated as a Sudra. That is Mahabharata, Vanaparva, what we call Aranya Parva. In Telugu, we call it Aranya Parva. And the Sanskrit text is, Sanskrit Mahabharata calls it Vanaparva. This Vanaparva, chapter number 100, that is Adhyaya 100, there this discussion is there. This Nahusha, this Dharmaraja Nahusha discussion is there in that Vanaparva. So this is what we see there. So he says, Yatra aital lakshyate sarpa. He is addressing that Nahusha. That Nahusha is in the form of a sarpa. So whoever has these qualities, he should only be regarded as a Brahmana. And where these qualities are not seen, he should be regarded as a Shudra. He is very, very clearly saying, Vrittam sa Brahmana smritaha, yatraitan na bhavet sarpa, where it is not available, where these qualities are not available, tam Shudramiti nirdishet, he has to be treated as a Shudra. So this is from Mahabharata, Vana Parva. Vana Parva is what we call Aranya Parva in Telugu. In Sanskrit Mahabharata, it is called Vana Parva. Vana Parva, Shloka, Adhyaya number 100. In that Adhyaya number 100, this is a discussion between Dharmaraja and Nahusha Gosan. So that is what we see in that thing. So Nilakanta Vyakya. Then as I told you, there are some other episodes, not many places where many places in Mahabharata which describe as to what should be a Brahmana, etc. Then in the same scheme, in the same thing we see, what does Manu say? We are all aware of Manu Smriti, and most of us, we are very, very angry with this Manu. And what is this Manu saying? Manu Dharma Shastra, there is a quotation from Manu Dharma Shastra. This is second Adhyaya, Shloka number 148. Manu Smriti, we know that there was one gentleman called Manu, and he is now accused of creating this Varna Vyavastha. And his books are also burnt now and then. So, but let us see what Manu is saying. Manu is saying in that second Adhyaya, Shloka number 148, he says, Acharyastvasya yam jatihi vidhivad vedaparagaha utpadayati savitriya sa satya sa ajara amara. So he says, when a boy is born, he is not telling about the modern days. Manusmriti came thousands of years ago. So thousands of years ago, what was the system? Because we are accusing Manu without knowing what he said. So what did he say? When a person is born, then there is of course a teacher. The teacher has to see the qualities of the boy. When immediately after born, or immediately after birth, the qualities will not be known. After a few years, maybe 5th year, 6th year, 7th year, because a person was supposed to get that thread ceremony in his 8th year. So by 8th year, his qualities will be known. So by observing his qualities, by seeing his general development, like we find in some schools, some intelligent boys, they are put in what is called a higher level, leap school or something like that. We have got certain schools where this categorization of students is done. Some ordinary or dull students, they are kept in one lower category, and some brilliant, bright students, they are kept in a higher category. So like that, a teacher was supposed to test. Acharyastu asya yam jatim vidhivat vedaparagaha acharyaha. A person who is very well read in Vedas, so that particular Acharya, he has to examine the boy and he has to place the student in that particular category. So if he places the student in the category of a Brahmana, he will be a Brahmana. And depending on his innate tendencies, the boy is showing some ferocity and then all that energy and enthusiasm. So he will be called a Kshatriya. So Utpadayati Savitriya Sa Satya. So the teacher is the person who is deciding the Varna of a student. So that is what we see Manusmriti. And this Brahmana also is supposed to continuously purify his body. Once he is placed in that category, automatically he doesn't become a Brahmana. He has to continuously purify his body, only then he will remain a Brahmana. That is like passing the departmental examinations. Now we talk about passing the departmental examinations. If you don't pass, you will not get increments. So like that, Mahayajnaischa Yajnaischa Brahmiyam Kriyate Tanuhu. That is what again in the same second Adhyaya, 28th Shloka. The earlier Shloka about Acharya was second Adhyaya, Shloka number 148. This particular Shloka, Mahayajnaischa Yajnaischa, it says that a person has to continuously observe all the austerities which are prescribed for him. Only then his body-mind complex becomes pure. Otherwise his body, he might have studied Vedas, but if he does not perform those rituals meticulously, if he does not do all these austerities and tapas meticulously, he falls from that category. So that is what is Manusmriti is saying. Then again, what do other texts say? Let us see. We have seen what Mahabharata says. Mahabharata very unequivocally says that a person, simply because he is born in a Brahmana category, he does not automatically become a Brahmana. The same thing is told by Manu also. Manu is saying it is the teacher who is deciding the Varna of a person. Again, what do other texts say? Let us see. there is what is called the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad again is a very, very ancient Upanishad, and that is from the Shukla Yajurveda Shakha. There, if you see that Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, in the very beginning it says, that is the very first chapter, it is called first Brahmanam. Then fourth Adhyaya, 11th mantra, 1-4-11. You can also Google search or you can do the Google search. That is 1-4-11. It says, in the beginning, the entire mankind was only one category. The entire mankind, there was only one category. You call it Brahmana, you call it whatever it is. Brahmava idamagra seet. So because there was no other word, they called it all are Brahma. Because all are descendants from the same rishis, all are descendants from the same Kashyapa Prajapati, as we said, as we see in the Puranas. So because all these people, they were descendants of all the same rishis, they were all one. And thereafter, but then the society did not thrive, it did not prosper. Because all the people were only doing tapas, all the people were doing only yajnas, all the people were engaged in rituals, etc. So there was a need for somebody to protect. So that is where the Kshatriya came in. When all the people, Brahmava idamagra sita, tan navyabhavat, that means that it did not prosper, it did not flourish, it did not excel. So then they had to create another category called Kshatriya in order to protect the society. And even then that was not enough, because there is a need for somebody to generate wealth, there is a need for economy. So if that economy is not there, then what will happen? So then they created another category called the Vaishya, and that category, it was created, that is Brihadaranyaka in the same Upanishad, 1-4-12 and 13, if you see, 12 and 13 mantras. Again, even that was not enough, because they needed lot many people to help. So that helping class, it was called Shudra, that was created later. That means only from one category, several people they broke off. From one category, different people they broke off, and different varnas came into existence. So that is what the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad says. Then again, so what does it mean? It means that there is all the people were to start with only one. There is another text called Purusha Suktam. So there is again another statement which has come under great controversy. That is, Brahmanosya mukhamasit bahura janyah krutaha uruta dasyed vaishyah. So that is what is the mantra. And I will tell you what exactly is this Purusha Sukta. Purusha Sukta it is about the cosmic personality, as we say it. We know the Vedanta says that the ultimate reality or ultimate thing, what we call God, is not a person, because I have been telling repeatedly again and again and again, because we forget again and again. The cosmic being, or whatever is the highest reality, as we call it, it is not some person who is sitting somewhere in heaven. It is not a person called God. It is of the nature of pure consciousness. And that consciousness is manifesting as all this thing. And there is one universal consciousness or universal intelligence, let us say, for this entire created universe. This universal intelligence is there. And that universal intelligence only has manifested in the form of what we see as animate things and inanimate things. So that is what is the Vedanta says, or rather the Upanishads say. And this cosmic intelligence, because we are seeing so much of variety in the universe, and variety among people and all that. So if we want to visualize the entire cosmic intelligence or cosmic being, let us say, as or cosmic personality, or if we want to visualize in the form of a human being, because it is the human being who is now thinking, it is not an ant. It seems Vivekananda said, if ant were to have intelligence, ant would have imagined that God is in the form of an ant. So human being is now thinking. So because the human being is now thinking, so he visualized the entire cosmic being in a human form. If you visualize the whole thing in a human form, that Purusha Sukta, there a particular hymn is there in the Rig Veda. We know that Rig Veda is the oldest book of mankind. Maybe 5,000 years ago, according to modern people. According to traditional people, it is thousands and thousands of years ago. Whatever is its antiquity, it says, it talks about that Purusha. Purusha is that cosmic being. For that cosmic being, suppose the entire universe, if you visualize as a personality, then who will become the spokesperson? and who is the person who is protecting it, and who is the person who is generating economy there, the society will not sustain. And who are all the people who are serving the remaining ranks. So if we see this, so then this Brahmana, whoever is there, a person who is dedicated to studies, a person who is having these qualities like Satyam, Dhanam, Kshama, Shaucham, which we discussed just now. So all the qualities which Mahabharata describes, a person who is having these qualities, he becomes the head, or he becomes the mouthpiece, let us say. Brahmanosya mukham asit. Mukham in Sanskrit means, it has got two meanings. Mukham means a face, mukham also means mouth. So Brahmana became the mouthpiece, it says. It does not say Brahmana came out of the head of the cosmic being. We will examine it tomorrow. Harihi Om Tat Sat.